Hey guys, it's Melissa here. So I wanted to talk to you today about not comparing yourself to anyone else. We are all here on our own journey. We're all in different places on our journey. We don't have to stack up to each other or measure ourselves up to anyone else. It's just silly. Some people just feel the need to constantly compare themselves to someone else and say, well, we both started here and I should be where they are now and I'm not doing enough, I'm not good enough, and that's simply not the case. As a classroom teacher, I will tell you that every day I see a classroom full of students and they're all expected to learn the same outcomes, but they don't all get there at the same time. They do all eventually learn them, and we, unfortunately will even have kids who don't necessarily learn what they were supposed to learn in the amount of time. It happens. And we have to work with those kids extra to get them to where they're supposed to be. But just because one student mastered it the first time it was taught and a second student took 7 times, it doesn't matter. That's not the point. The point is that they reached the end goal, which is that they learned the content. It didn't matter how long it took them because they got there, and that's where they were supposed to be. And life is like that a lot, okay? In education, we talk about differentiation a lot. We differentiate instruction based on a student's need. So we have some learners who might be kinesthetic learners. They learn more if they're up, moving around, and really getting in contact with the content, and they make meaning out of movement. And then you have some students who are more auditory. They have to hear things, and there are other ways to get the information across to those students, and students who are visual learners, and so they need to see it. We have all kinds of learners in our classroom. In the same way, we are all different in how we approach life and how we get through things in life. So let's take, for example, a breakup. Now, one person may go through a breakup and just get right back out there the next day, and it's like, well, that sucked and it hurt, but, I'm getting right back out there. And someone else may dwell on this breakup for like 7 or 8 months or even longer. It doesn't mean that the person who got right back out there is wrong, and it doesn't mean the person who waited 6 or 7 months is wrong. It's just that everyone copes with things in their own way. In the same way, whatever you're doing in life, wherever you're supposed to be, whatever your goals are, you're going to get to them. It might take you a little bit longer than the person next to you. So you should never get into the habit of comparing yourself, because it's like comparing apples and oranges. It's 2 different things. You're not on the same journey that the person next to you is. And we sometimes get into this comparing, especially because of Facebook. Because let's face it, Facebook is all about people putting their best show out there for people, right? Like, this is my best life. And oftentimes the lives that people are putting out there on Facebook are not even really the lives they're living at home. They're putting their best stuff out there. They're not putting on Facebook, hey, I totally failed today and, I'm a horrible person. They're not putting that kind of stuff. Some people are. But most people are just putting their best stuff out there on Facebook. So for you to feel like you have to keep up with the Joneses is ridiculous, because it's not even their true life. And I've often heard people say like, oh, I wish I had this like so-and-so, trying to compare. And it could be, oh, I wish I had a marriage like so-and-so, or I wish I had a house like so-and-so. And what a lot of people don't realize is there are a lot of things that come along with having the marriage and having the house that you don't know about. They may be projecting this beautiful marriage out there to everyone else, while behind closed doors, it's a mess. And you don't know. You have no idea that it is, because nobody's going to project that out to the public. Nobody's going to put on Facebook, I hate my husband, or I hate my wife. You just don't do that. So you're not seeing what's going on in the background or what's going on at home. Same thing with the house. They might have this big, beautiful house, and they may have bills and mortgage up to their eyeballs, and they're in so much debt. You don't know what's going on in someone else's life. And the reason that I bring this up is just I point out that you should never say, I wish I had so-and-so's life. Sorry, Nala's a little excited. Because that you don't know what their life is like. You have no idea what that person's life is really like. And anyway, you don't want someone else's life. You want your own life. And we talked about not being resistant to the idea that the universe is bringing us everything we want. Like everything we want is already in the vortex. That vortex is just our alignment with source. It's there waiting for us. And we just have to learn how to become not resistant to it and how not to control outcomes and not focus on how and when and why things are going to happen. We just have to be open to the fact that it's going to happen. So this whole concept of I have to have what everyone else has is it's just funny to me because I don't know. It's not very original to say that my life has to be like anyone else's, you know? How much fun could it be to everyone have the same house and everyone have the same dog and everyone have the same kids, you know? I mean, how boring would that be? I'm talking like Stepford family or something. We want to be unique individuals. We want to be ourselves. So don't let anyone else's success tear you down. I think a lot of people, and I think this is really what it stems from, I think a lot of people get very upset when they see other people's success because they feel like, well, there's nothing left for me because that person took all of the success. And that's just not true. There's plenty to go around. Someone else getting their due reward doesn't take away from your reward. Your reward is still there. It's not like the universe says, oh, I only have $500 to give out today, so if Joni gets $200, then there's only $300 left for everyone else. It doesn't work that way. But we act like it does because we get so defensive when we see other people succeeding when really we should be applauding each other and cheering each other on and saying, yes, your success is my success because we're all one. And when you're successful and happy, I'm successful and happy, and I'm happy to see other people happy. That's how we really should be. Instead of this whole, well, if I applaud your success and if I'm happy for you, then that means I'm not going to have anything and there's not going to be anything left for me to be successful about, which again is not true. But for some reason, we've got this stuck in our head that we have to compare ourselves to someone else to see how we're doing. And the thing about it is, if I look at people I admire, if I look at their lives, let's take my mom and dad for just a moment. If they were to put themselves on a timeline and say, I had to do this by this certain amount of time, they might have gotten really discouraged and never done anything because they both went to college for a little bit, but they didn't graduate at first. And they both went back later on in life to get degrees, my dad in nursing and my mom a teacher. But they didn't do that right away. And if they had looked at other people's timelines and said, well, I haven't done anything, with my college and I haven't started this career, it's too late, I'm never going to be able to do it. But neither one of them did that. They were both like, it's not too late to do what I want to do and to be successful. And they both went out and did it. And so they were both really, really great examples for us that it's never too late to follow your dreams. It's never too late to go after what you want. That you don't have to look at somebody next to you and say, well, because I'm not where you are, I'm a failure. Because that's not the truth. You're just on a different timeline. Some people choose one career and then realize later in life that wasn't the career they really wanted. That happens to a lot of people because we're expected to choose a career when we're barely old enough. We're like barely considered adults, but they want us to figure out what we want to do for the rest of our lives. And so often we don't know. And we just kind of go with whatever. We have advisors who tell us, well, you're good at this, you should do this, and they're trying their best to advise us. But oftentimes we end up going into careers or forced into careers that we don't really want because we didn't have another option. And we didn't know what we wanted. So if you didn't know what you want, other people were helping you decide. And then it really wasn't your decision. It was whoever was helping you. So it's important to realize that it doesn't matter where you are on your journey. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. And if you feel like you're stuck in this isn't where I want to be, know that you're on a destination. You're on a journey. So your journey doesn't just end in the middle of your destination. It doesn't end in the middle of it. It doesn't end on the way to it. It ends at the final destination, which is wherever we end up when we cross over. So right now, you still have the ability to change anything you want to about your life. And you don't have to live up to someone else's expectation of what your life should look like. When you're not living your life the way you want to live it, you're going to be so frustrated, resentful, angry. It's horrible to be stuck in someone else's idea of your life. You need to be true to yourself and live the life that's going to make you happy and do what's going to set your soul on fire. And I just read a quote today that I loved, and it was Abraham Hicks. And it said, when you find something about if you're happy, then you found your path. And if you're not happy, that's not it. So it's all about our feeling. How do we feel being where we are in life on this path? Is it a joyous feeling? Do we like it? Or do we dread it every day? Because that's a good indication. If you're feeling like you have to do things to drown out every day, like if you're turning to substances or you're shopping, you're doing all of these things to take away the pain that you're feeling from being stuck in this life that you don't love, then you're missing the point. You're missing it. You don't have to be stuck. You don't have to be stuck. At any point in your life, when the path doesn't feel right, when it doesn't feel good to you, you can turn around and go the other way. You can choose a different path. And that, I know, sounds like what I'm saying is just so simple, but it's not that easy. I know you're going to say that, okay, Melissa, that's great. Great for you. But I've got all of this responsibility, and I can't just switch and change. I didn't say it would be easy. It might not be easy. But you have to consider what's better. Struggling a little bit to get back on the right path and to get where you want to go, and then being happy for the rest of your life, or struggling and being miserable for the rest of your life because you're too afraid to struggle for just a little part of your life. I ask that question because it's a valid question. I know personal struggle, believe me. I've had to rebuild my life more than one time. And it was not easy, but it was worth it. Absolutely worth it. And once things start to fall into place, you wonder why you didn't do it sooner. Honestly, when I, got divorced and I had to figure out what I wanted to do with my life, and I went back and got my teaching degree, it was a struggle because I was going to school and working and taking care of my kids, and I don't know how I managed at that time. I don't know how I functioned. I'm not sure how I was able to actually take a breath because it was so busy. And I went to bed every night completely exhausted. But that lasted for a year or a year and a half while I got my degree. And then once I got my degree, things became so much easier because when I got my job, I was able to work less than I worked before because my job had benefits and it paid more. And then I didn't have to stress out about the fact that I hated my job and that I wasn't making enough money. I didn't have to worry about that anymore. And that became one less stressful thing. So even though it was a little bit chaotic and stressful in the beginning, it got better. And then I had a job that I loved. For going on 12 years now. And the other job I had for a year. Just 1 year. And I absolutely hated it. Dreaded going to work. Didn't want to get out of bed in the morning. So in the amount of time that I worked at a job I hated, it took that amount of time to flip things around and then be in a job that I loved. So I guess my question to you is, why are you going to stay stuck where you're not happy? Because you're afraid to move out of your comfort zone. Because that's really what it's all about. It's fear. It's your ego telling you that you can't do it. And that's a lie. You know you can do it. You have everything you need to be successful. And if you have your spiritual team behind you, they're helping you out. So it's just your ego at this point saying, you can't do it. You're stupid. You're crazy. It's never going to work. And you have to tell your ego to shut up. Get out of the way. Quit keeping me stuck. And know that there's nothing to be afraid of. If you try and you fail, it's not even really failure. It's just life saying, hey, go a different way. Do it differently. It's just trial and error. That's all a lot of things are, trial and error. You never know if you could make it or not if you don't try. Sorry. My dogs are very hyper today. They always wait till I do a podcast to be talkative. So don't compare yourself to others. Don't feel like you have to live someone else's expectation of what you should be living. Be authentic, be yourself, be true, be happy. That's the bottom line and the basis of it all is just be happy because you deserve it. And that's really what the universe wants, is for us to be happy. So I would encourage you to take a look at your life and think about where you're happy and where you're not happy. And stop looking around you at other people to measure your success by others, because it has nothing to do with your success. Nothing at all. Others do not define who you are. Only you can do that. So stop feeling the need to size yourself up next to your neighbors or your friends or family. That does not matter. I wanted to pull a card for you, and you can't make up the stuff that comes out. It's just matched perfectly. It says, my energy creates my reality. What I focus on is what I will manifest. And this is what we're talking about. What do you want to see happen in your life? And that's the energy you want to put forward. What would it feel like to have what you want? You'd feel happy, right? You'd feel freaking ecstatic to have everything you wanted. That's the energy you have to get to in order to manifest and to see your dreams become a reality. But it's possible. It's totally possible. Yeah, it might take... It's not even supposed to be hard work, but you have to do your part. You have to do your part, and then you have to let go of control of the outcome. Let go of control and attachment to the outcome, and just get in the flow and let it happen. But you have to first figure out, where's your happiness? What's going to make you happy? And do that. Do exactly that. That which sets your soul on fire. And you know when you found your path because it feels good. It feels right. It feels happy. All right, guys. Well, I hope that helped some people. If you need some help getting unstuck, you can call me for a Reiki session or coaching session or a reading. In the coaching sessions, we kind of do whatever we need to do. So that could include Reiki, it could include a reading. It's whatever we need to do to get you to where you need to be and on your path once again. If you are looking for really healing that inner child, I'm going to be doing past life regressions, and those are amazing for being able to see what has happened in our past lives and the lessons we need to learn and how to heal those karmic lessons and to keep them from repeating from life to life. So that's something you might want to check out. That will be offered soon. I have my guided meditations on my site. If you need healing, there's a chakra cleansing. There's also just a healing meditation, a cord cutting. So go check those out. As always, you can join me on the Facebook Lives. It will be Thursday this week because I have class. So join me on Thursday at 7 Central for a card reading. And just contact me if you have questions about anything. You can contact me through email, melissaoatman77@gmail.com. You can call me. My phone number is on my website. You can also just text me through my phone or message me on my Reiki with Melissa page on Facebook. I always answer messages there. So I want to thank everyone who's reached out and sent messages to me this past week. It's so nice to get to talk to you and connect with you. I really, really appreciate it. And I love getting to know people who listen to me because I never really know, who my listeners really even are until they contact me. And it's so nice to hear from you. I appreciate you guys so much. I just want to thank you for being loyal listeners. If you like this podcast, please share it with others so that they may also see the light. Please leave stars or reviews on iTunes or any of the other programs you may be listening to this from, Google Play, Spotify, or Podbean. Truly appreciate it because the more reviews and stars I get, the more other people are able to see this podcast and it helps everyone out. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I am sending you massive love and light. I will talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.